on OTB Talk, we have Vanessa Caswell Rogers, who is the CEO of I Am She Mentoring Program, and she's going to come on and talk about a little bit about her organization. Thank you for coming on today, Vanessa. So kind of give us a little insight about I Am She.
All right, first of all, I want to thank you for actually inviting me to be a part. Again, my name is Vanessa Caswell Rogers, CEO and founder of I Am She. I Am She is actually an all-girls mentoring program that I was gifted with back in 2019. Didn't know that we was going to be going into a pandemic, and that a lot of girls would, after the pandemic, would really need me per se and other mentors due to the trauma that occurred at their homes because of the shutdown and being away from school and being at homes with different family members that actually probably could not love on them. And so after that, I just went forward and I went into some schools, and the rest is history. Not knowing that I had someone that's over a school district that was watching me the whole time, watching my postings and all of that, giving girls positive affirmation during that time of COVID. And the rest is history. I go ahead and let her ask. That's it.
I heard you talk about somebody watching you on social media.
Yes.
And how your gift will make rooms.
Yes.
Let's talk about the importance of great social media etiquette.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great thing to kind of start with.
Okay.
Tell everybody about social media etiquette. What do you feel like will be able to help them get to the next level about watching what they post on social media?
Okay. That is so important. And like I said, there's times that I have actually went on, and a lot of times we go out of somebody have said something to us of something negative. That's the first place we want to vent. We want to vent on social media. But always keep in mind that there is somebody that's watching your page. And then to me, there's a blessing that if you can have one or two people, when you do put it out there and they call you and correct you, say no, take that off. Then, you know, you have somebody that's in your corner, because you don't never know, reference to job-wise later on in life, that could vary, that posts could very come back and hunt you. And so we just have to be careful what we put on there. And then if we have a conflict issue with someone, it's not to be actually placed on Facebook. And actually when Facebook came about, Facebook was actually a networking system. Mm-hmm. It was not to be putting all of your business on the air and all your business, who you done got into it with. And our young girls, I say to not only our young girls, but our young boys, when I'm actually mentoring in the school system, I tell them to be very mindful and to be careful of that, because that can follow them for a long time.
I want to elaborate on one of the things that you stated about having a great support system to be able to check you, be able to fix your crown without telling others that it's tilted. And I know that in life, you know, they feel like when you arrive to a certain point in life that you are not human. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we get in our feelings, sometimes we feel a certain type of way, and the first question is, what's on your mind? Sometimes you got to chew your words before you spit them out.
Exactly,
so
that's true.
I love that you talk about having a great support system, and I can say you are my support system. I can call on you and say, Vanessa, what do you think about this before I post it? Or what do you think about this outfit? Do you feel like it's appropriate? And I can take constructive criticism, because I know you're telling me it's out of love and not to hurt me. And it's great to have someone that you can lean on to be able to get positive feedback. And I'm grateful to have that partnership with you. Not just a partnership, I love that you can pour into me, not just me, but my children.
Thank you.
You know, the village is not just your family.
That's absolutely.
You can create your own village. You never know where someone's going to fit in your life.
That's correct.
And I really want to talk about, how do you get back full when you feel depleted?
Actually, Christ is the center of my organization, and he's most definitely the center of my life. And so sometimes when I get out of whack, we can go to one another, but at the end of the day, there's somebody much bigger, wiser, and that's the Lord. We have to go to God in prayer. And so that's where I'm at right now in the phase that I'm going through, just going to God in prayer, asking him, hey, what's my next move, God? What is it that you want me to do? I've been doing this for 8 years. And if I must say, and not throwing any shade, that when I started, our youth were not like they are now. And so it's a lot going on, even within the school systems with our educators as well. Everybody got some trauma going on, but they don't know how to handle that trauma. And so that's another thing when we talk about support system. When you're going through, that's a good spot to have your supporters there with you. When you're going through, hey, I'm going through anxiety. This is just too much. And get with some people that you really can trust, that it ain't going nowhere. Yes. And so I just want to say, CEO Munson, in reference to, we met at a function. And when we met at the function, we sat at the same table. And I believe you asked me, hey, are you Vanessa Caswell Rogers?
No, I asked you what you do for a living. We both end up having an organization.
Yes.
Yes.
And in that point, we actually exchanged numbers because we said, hey, we can do some work together. But I just say that God has his own timing, because it took a year for us to actually connect.
Yes.
And once we connected, it's been like a family, like she stated. Her boys and a village is needed. I don't care if there is a single or there's a husband, wife, mom, dad. In this time of day, it takes a village, and so that's what I am. I'm just part of the village, and I love it. I love it.
I love that you're talking about seeking God's face and not his hands in this season of your life. I know a lot of times they feel like once you get to a certain point that you arrive, when they don't know that's when all the crosses come.
Yes.
And you got to be able to be covered by God and be centered in his word, and to be able to know when you need to disconnect to reconnect.
Absolutely.
And one word that stuck out to me is trauma. Before I say talk about trauma, I want to say Vanessa Caswell is the one who trained me on ACEs as well, got me trying. So give a small snippet about ACEs.
Okay. All right. ACEs, actually, a lot of people say, well, what does ACEs mean? It's adverse childhood experience. Any trauma within the household with a child from the ages of 1 to 18. Let me give some examples. They could have been told you'll never be nothing in life. That damages a child. Drug use in the home, of course, sexual acts in the home with the child. And we grew up, I'm old school, we grew up on this thing about what
goes on in my house, stays in my house.
And that needs to be chopped up.
Yes.
Because that makes a lot of kids, they want to actually go ahead and tell somebody, but they're afraid because somebody may have told them, if you tell somebody, I'm going to hurt your family member, I'm going to hurt you. But we need to get out of that. I don't know if they're still using that or what now, but growing up, that was the thing in our household. What goes on here, like they say in Vegas, stays here. I hate that. I hate that because it has messed up so many of our young kids. And not only our young kids, they grow up being adults full of trauma. You know, they can't handle relationships, marriages, they can't handle jobs. It's a lot comes with that. And so I say, while we're talking about ACEs, if you are listening and something is going on, some young ladies, and young men, you got somebody that's tampering with you, it's okay to let somebody know. Get somebody you can trust to let know, even an educator, someone at your school, if you're in church, your pastor, or somebody that you can find, because that goes with you a long time, a mighty long time. So you have to get some type of therapy. You have to bring somebody in so you can actually just vent and get that off of you and not hold it within.
One thing I want to tell you before we conclude this interview is, I want you to trust God in this season. I know right now you're in a season trying to figure out your next. I know you're in a season where you're going to the throne instead of the phone all the time.
Yes.
And you're trying to weather the storm and figure out, but I want you to know you're doing amazing work in the community. And these young ladies need you.
Thank you.
They need someone to be able to identify and to see the example. And every time you walk in the room, you glow. You don't even have to say anything. Your presence speaks for itself. So don't ever think that nobody's watching you.
Yeah, that is so true.
They need a shero.
Yeah, and if I can just reiterate and not cut you off, I was on a conversation yesterday with a young lady on the phone, and she stated that when you walk in the room, she said it's just like power walks in the room. You know, you're not trying to be seen or anything. She said, but you shift the atmosphere. And so that blew my mind when she said that, but I've heard that before. I'm just plain old Vanessa. I love to have fun. I love to laugh. Not trying to be all of that or anything. So
it ain't about trying to be all that. You already all that.
All right.
Don't say that. You ain't gonna say that.
All right.
You gonna be who you are. All that.
I'm all of that then.
And a bag of chips.
And a bag of chips. And that's what I tell our girls too at the schools, that remember that, you know, you are all of that. And then I add you a bag of chips and some more.
Amen.
Yeah. And the sky is way further, is the limit. And so I just want to encourage, you know, our young girls, moms, if you're listening, take out some time with your girls and just sit down and have a conversation with them. I am available up on the I Am She. I'm on social media platforms. I think Ms. Munson may have that information, but mentoring is still goes forward, and I think it'll never end because our kids are going through so much during this trying time.
Do you have any upcoming events that you would like the public to know about?
Something. Well, I'm working on something. I'm working on some lunch and learns for this month. We know school is about to end, and then in May and June, I want to keep them kind of busy. So I'm looking at doing on Saturdays for a couple of hours, bringing some girls in and having some speakers to come in and pour into them, and we have lunch with them as well.
Of course, you are a part of the Uplift Her cohort, so we're going to be getting together and putting that information out into the community. Well, we want to conclude OTB Talk. If you're interested in coming on to talk about your organization, your business, or just have a conversation, you can reach us at 901-401-8355 or at info@takingback901. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.